Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Zoom Freaks. No, it's not the Zoom Freak 6. Nike changed up the name. It's the Nike Giannis Freak 6. You guys remember when Nike released the very first Zoom Freak one? And it used to be called the Zoom Freaks. Now it's the Giannis Freak. I wonder why they changed the name. Maybe they're trying to remove zoom from the actual shoe because every single shoe has had a zoom unit. But yeah, this shoe is of course Giannis Antetokounmpo's 6th signature shoe with Nike. And yeah, again, I'm very sad. I wish they would have called it the Antetokounmpo's. I want to say Antetokounmpo 6, Antetokounmpo 5. Oh man. But yeah, so this is the rose colorway, the roses colorway, and of course this is for his father, which he liked roses. So this is the colorway for his dad, and it retails for 150 bucks because it's a kind of like a special colorway, but the other colorway that came out retails for 140 bucks, which is pretty much the same exact price as the Giannis Freak 5. So if you guys do want to cop this shoe, I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. If you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy the shoe from the affiliate link in the description box, or the product pictures underneath this video, or I'll try to leave a link like right here. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. The Zoom Freaks, or the Giannis's signature shoe line, has been pretty dang good. Not the best. I mean, like, it's been nice. It's been pretty dang solid. But each year, I don't think it's ever been like top 3, top 5 for me personally. The Freak 5 was really nice though. You know what I mean? Like, I would say it's like top 10 for me last year. Really solid shoe. But yeah, we'll see if this shoe is nice. So let's get it started off with the tracciones. And Nike is actually saying this is a herringbone traction pattern, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, we literally just have his logo again. We have a bunch of his logos, and then here in the midfoot, it kind of like warps a little bit, zooms in, and gets a little bit curvy. But for the most part, it's just his logo, And we have very solid lines, like pretty thin. It looks pretty thin, but the grooves are actually pretty hard, or the rubber is really hard. So yeah, how does the traction feel on my wood floors so far? It feels really nice. It has a really nice bite, and of course it's just my wood floors. It can change once I go to the actual basketball court, but this is first impressions. It's feeling really nice on my floors. And also it has a very nice loud high-pitched squeak, which has nothing to do with performance, of course, but I feel like a lot of hoopers want to know if it's squeaky, and yeah, this shoe does have a nice loud high-pitched squeak. Also, for dust, we'll have to see on dust. It seems like it's picking up a little bit of dust though, so we'll have to see on that. The Freak 5 was really nice on dust performance, so hopefully this will be just as good, but the grooves are pretty close together, so again, we'll have to wait on that. Also for durability, like I said, the grooves are kind of thin, but the rubber is extremely freaking hard. Like super duper hard. So I feel like the durability will be pretty good, and the grooves are kind of deep too. So after use, you should be fine. So yeah, the traction is feeling really good so far, which I do like. And Giannis' signature shoe line has actually had pretty good traction, besides I guess like the 1. The 2 was super nice. The 3 was okay. The 4 was solid. The 5 was really good though. That was top tier, and this is feeling top tier so far. So I'm very excited about that. And then moving on to the heel to toe transition, it feels overall very smooth. Here in the heel, we have a little bit of a curve shape, right? And also a slightly exposed midsole here, right? And here in the back of the shoe, it is caged, right? I don't know why you would cage it here. You would want a little bit more compression in the back of the shoe, and then a little bit less compression here on the side for a better lateral stability. So I don't really understand that design, but it still feels pretty smooth here in the heel. And then coming here to the forefoot, we have a little bit of a rocker shape, which feels nice. And also for the forefoot flex, we have a good amount of forefoot flex, but it's actually kind of stiff. You know what I mean? Honestly, it feels a little bit stiffer than normal. However, when you're just walking around in it with your body weight, of course, you're not gonna notice it as much, but it does feel a little bit stiffer here in the forefoot than normal, right? And also, here in the midfoot area, there seems to be a midfoot shin plate, surprisingly. Nike has not been giving us that, but in this shoe, it feels yeah, it doesn't really bend here in the midfoot at all. So yeah, torsion support seems pretty good too. So there is the heel to toe transition. Moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup is pretty nice. They're using Cushion 2.0 foam and also a 4-foot zoom unit, and it feels like it's top loaded to me, you know. So just wearing the shoe, walking around in it, the zoom unit in the 4-foot feels pretty nice. There's a nice little compression, nice little bounce it feels like, which I do enjoy. And also for the insole, we have just a regular Ortholite insole, nothing amazing. And then for the strobel board underneath that, especially in the heel, it's just a regular strobel board. I wish they would go back to the Freak 4s. You guys remember the Freak, I believe it was a 4, right? With a very large cutout in the heel. You guys remember that? I wish they would come back to that, you know, because in this shoe, it's just literally just straight up strobel board and it's very stiff in the heel. So that kind of sucks, but it does feel nice for the overall compression here in the heel, right? So we have pretty nice compression. It's soft, it's comfortable. And then here in the 4-foot, it actually has a little bit of compression as well. Court feel seems pretty good too. It's not amazing for court feel. I would say it's a little bit better than average. But it's still pretty good for court feel. So I'm liking it so far. It's like a really responsive setup, and I feel like most guards will enjoy it. You know, nice little bounce in the 4-foot, a little bit of compression in the heel, pretty good court feel, and overall more like on the responsive side of things for the cushioning setup. So, I mean, if you want a lot of cushion, and obviously it's probably not the best option, but for me, it's actually pretty nice. So there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper, so they're giving us a mono mesh material, right? And here in the toe box, you know, we have a very soft, like, look at this. Just with my fingers, like, it's just so soft. You know, and then here in like the middle of the outsole, I don't know if you guys can see, but there is an underlaying material, so it does get a little bit stiffer like in the middle of the toe box right here, right? But it's just so soft still, right? It's extremely freaking soft, but also like it doesn't stretch at all, so it feels pretty supportive, you know what I mean? So we'll have to see on how like the overall containment is, because it doesn't stretch, but it kind of moves a little bit like this, you know, because it is a soft material. So we'll have to see on the overall support, but overall right now it feels pretty supportive. But yeah, I do really like how it feels on foot. You know, it's comfortable, it conforms to my foot. And then coming here into the midfoot, it's pretty much the same exact material, but there are some leather, like synthetic leather material overlays, right? So especially here in the medial side. And on the medial side, doesn't this remind you of like the KD3s? Right, am I tripping? Kind of does to me. But here on the lateral side, of course, in this colorway, we have a very large swoosh, right? And it's like this plastic material. And also for this part, right, where it goes into the midsole, that's also plastic. It's not foam. And then we have a very nice embroidered flower or rose with thorns going around the swoosh, which I think looks great. And also going around the eyelets and also around the entire shoe, we have this synthetic leather material. And then in the bottom of the tongue, we have a pretty open mesh, which does improve the ventilation, but the overall ventilation for the mono mesh material is actually pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good, right? And then on top of the tongue, we actually don't have that much padding, which kind of sucks. I remember the Zoom Freak 1 and 2 where I had a lot of padding, felt very comfortable and cozy, but for this one, it's not even that well padded, you know? It's also a half booted construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, we actually have like an average amount of padding. It feels pretty nice, feels pretty cozy. On the sides, we have a little bit of padding, and then in the back of the shoe, it has a little bit more padding. So overall, I mean, for 150 bucks, I feel like this mono mesh isn't the best quality. And also, it doesn't feel like it'll last the longest because it is just so thin, especially like right here. But it feels nice on foot though. It feels nice on foot, so I'll give it that. So there's a material there. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size, and this shoe fits me extremely well. And it literally fits exactly like the Freak 5. So if you know what size you were in the Freak 5, go the exact same size here in the Freak 6. Here in the toe box, it's kind of snug, you know what I mean? We got a pretty snug fit. I can curl my toes up just a tiny bit, but I like it overall. Lengthwise, my toes go very close to the edge of the shoe. Widthwise, it's slightly narrow as well, especially once you get to the tip, it is kind of narrow, so that kind of sucks, but it's not terrible for me. And also here in the midfoot area, it is a little snug too. So yeah, the overall fit for me going true to size is really nice. It's a nice snug fit. And now moving on to the support and lockdown, it feels pretty good overall, but I'm a little bit worried about the 4-foot lateral containment, right? So like I said, this mono mesh is so soft, you know, and there's no lateral counters, like nothing's coming up acting as a sidewall here in the 4-foot. Maybe the foam just a tiny bit, but overall, look at this, right? Kind of like, hopefully my my foot won't come out of the footbed here in the forefoot, but we'll have to see on that, right? Here in the midfoot, of course, we have the foam coming up acting as a sidewall, and then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter. So you're covered here, but in the forefoot, we'll have to see. Lateral stability feels pretty good. We have a little, it's not an outrigger, but it protrudes out just a tiny bit for the foam. So that's good for lateral stability. And overall, the lockdown feels pretty good so far. Not experiencing any type of heel slippage, and the fit is really good, so my foot feels nice and secure into the shoe. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe, I feel like it'll be pretty dang light. It feels very light, like the upper is extremely thin, and Cushlon also is very light. It's a lightweight foam, so I'm guessing at 11 point something ounces. 11.35 ounces, that's extremely light. Let's check the other shoe. 11.35 ounces. So yeah, the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So it's more than an ounce lighter than average, which is really good. It's very lightweight. It feels very minimal on foot, and it feels like it'll be a very responsive shoe, right? The traction is feeling really good. The cushion is feeling responsive, but also not like super stiff and uncomfortable. It's actually pretty nice. The upper is extremely minimal. We'll have to see on the lateral containment, however, but overall it feels really nice on foot. And now moving on to the aesthetics, I love it. This shoe looks absolutely amazing, or maybe it's just this colorway. I don't know. Some of the other colorways that are coming out, right? I'm not a huge fan of. So I feel like the overall kind of like design of the shoe looks pretty good though. You know what I mean? You guys all know Giannis. He loves huge, oversized swooshes and reverse swooshes. So that's what we get here in the Freak 6. So yeah, wrapping things up. Yeah, this shoe's feeling really nice. I mean, for 140 bucks retail, this is a 150, but it's a special colorway. So 140 bucks retail, I feel like it's pretty good, but it feels like a $120 shoe to me. You know what I mean? Like the Jaws. Like the PGs back then, you know what I mean, like 110, 120 bucks. So I feel like 140 bucks is a little too much, especially for the, like, we're getting Cushlon and a freaking forefoot zoom unit. Like, I feel like we should get a little bit more, you know what I mean? And also for the material quality, I feel like isn't there for 140, 150 bucks. So that kind of sucks. I'm just saying, like, there's better options for like quality, you know, and also for cushion out there for like 110, 120 bucks, you know what I mean? But it's feeling good so far. You know what I mean? It feels great on foot, lightweight, you know, it feels responsive. So I'm liking how it feels. It's just the price just kind of doesn't make sense to me, you know? So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Giannis Freak 6. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave the link in the description box, but that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.